The massive creature stood in the center of the arena, its obsidian scales gleaming under the harsh lights of the Galactic Council's military demonstration facility. General Kraxtor of the Dominion fleet watched from the observation deck, his four arms crossed over his chest. The Warbeast was everything their bioengineers had promised, and more. Magnificent, isn't it? Dr. Zalera said, her tentacles writhing with excitement. 7 years of genetic manipulation, neural conditioning, and combat programming. The perfect killing machine. The Warbeast moved with fluid grace despite its enormous size. Standing 15 feet tall on 4 powerful legs, its body resembled a nightmarish fusion of predator species from a dozen worlds. Razor-sharp claws extended from each foot, capable of tearing through starship hulls. Its elongated head housed rows of teeth that could crush titanium, and its tail ended in a spike club that had already demolished 3 testing drones. "Show me what it can do," Kraxtor commanded. Zalera activated her communicator. Released the combat units. 20 military-grade battle droids marched into the arena, their plasma weapons charging. The Warbeast's head snapped toward them, and a low rumble emanated from its throat. Without warning, it launched itself forward with impossible speed. The first droid never had a chance to fire. The Warbeast's jaws clamped down on its head, crushing it like paper. Its tail swept 3 more droids into the wall, reducing them to sparking scrap. Plasma bolts struck its scales harmlessly as it tore through the remaining units with ruthless efficiency. In less than 60 seconds, 20 top-tier combat droids lay in pieces across the arena floor. The Warbeast stood among the wreckage, not even breathing hard. Impressive, Kraxtor admitted. But can it be controlled? That's the beauty of our design, Zalera explained. The neural implants ensure absolute obedience to Dominion command frequencies. Watch this. She pressed a series of buttons on her control panel. The Warbeast immediately went rigid, then moved to the center of the arena and sat. Another command made it lie down. A third had it standing on its hind legs. Perfect control, Zalera said proudly. It responds only to our encrypted signals. No enemy can hijack it. No amount of damage can break its conditioning. It's the ultimate weapon. Kraxtor nodded slowly. How many can you produce? Given adequate resources, we can have 100 ready within 6 months. 1,000 within 2 years. Imagine it, General, an army of these creatures leading our forces. No civilization in the galaxy could stand against us. The General's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. Begin production immediately. The Council will want a full demonstration for the member species. Schedule it for next month. Of course, General. Though I should mention, Zalera hesitated. There is one species we haven't tested it against. Which one? The humans. Kraxtor made a dismissive gesture. Those soft, pink creatures? They barely have fur or scales for protection. Their military technology is decades behind ours. Why waste time testing against them? It's just that their neural patterns are unusual, unlike anything we've encountered. Their brains show strange activity patterns that our xenobiologists don't fully understand. Irrelevant, Kraxtor declared. If this creature can destroy our best combat units, a species that relies on primitive projectile weapons and chemical explosives poses no threat. Proceed with the demonstration as planned. The demonstration day arrived with great fanfare. Representatives from 53 species gathered in the grand amphitheater of the Galactic Council. The massive arena had been specially reinforced for the event, with energy shields protecting the spectator areas. Ambassador Chen sat with the small human delegation, looking uncomfortable in the formal robes required for council events. Unlike the elaborate uniforms and ceremonial armor worn by other species, the humans wore simple fabric clothing that drew condescending looks from their neighbors. Primitive creatures, Ambassador Thekval of the Altarian Empire whispered to his aide, loud enough for the humans to hear. I'm surprised the council even granted them observer status. Chen ignored the comment, focusing instead on the arena below. Something about this whole demonstration made him uneasy. He'd read the reports about the Dominion's new bioweapon, and while humanity's military advisors weren't concerned, something nagged at him. Ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished beings, General Crackstor's voice boomed through the amphitheater. Today, the Dominion shares with you the future of warfare. Behold the X-127 combat organism. The arena floor opened, and the Warbeast rose on a platform. Gasps and exclamations filled the air as the creature came into view. Even from the distant seats, its menacing presence was undeniable. We call it the Harbinger, Crackstor continued. Grown in our labs, programmed for absolute obedience, designed for total destruction. Allow me to demonstrate. Wave after wave of combat challenges followed. The Warbeast destroyed assault vehicles, shrugged off energy weapons, and tore through defensive fortifications like they were made of cardboard. Each display of power drew more impressed reactions from the crowd. As you can see, Crackstor said after the latest demonstration, the Harbinger is unstoppable. No armor can withstand it. No weapon can harm it. No defense can contain it. And, most importantly, no enemy can control it. Our neural command system is unbreakable. Ambassador Chen noticed movement in the human section. A small figure had stood up and was making their way toward the aisle. His heart sank as he recognized his daughter, Lily. The 7-year-old had begged to come to the station, fascinated by the idea of seeing alien creatures. Against his better judgment, Chun had brought her along, thinking a council demonstration would be educational and safe. Now she was walking down the stairs with a determined expression he knew all too well. "Lily," he whispered urgently, but she either didn't hear or chose to ignore him. The girl reached the barrier between the spectator area and the arena. Security guards from various species stood at regular intervals, but they paid no attention to what appeared to be a human child. After all, what threat could something so small pose? Down in the arena, Crackstor was building to his grand finale. For our final demonstration, we will show the Harbinger's hunting prowess. Release the prey. A dozen holographic targets appeared throughout the arena, programmed to move like fleeing creatures. The Warbeast's head snapped toward them, its body coiling like spring. That's when Lily slipped past the barriers. The movement caught the Warbeast's attention immediately. Its massive head swiveled toward the tiny figure now standing at the edge of the arena floor. Every muscle in its body tensed, and a growl rumbled from deep in its chest. Screams erupted from the crowd. Security forces rushed toward the barriers, but they were too far away. The Warbeast took a step toward the child, then another, its movements predatory and focused. Activate emergency protocols. Crackstor roared. Shut it down. Dr. Zalera frantically entered commands into her control panel. It's not responding. Something's interfering with the signal. The Warbeast continued its approach, now only 50 feet from Lily. The child stood perfectly still, looking up at the creature with an expression of wonder rather than fear. She raised one small hand, palm facing forward. The entire amphitheater held its breath. Weapons powered up around the arena, but firing wrist hitting the child. The Warbeast was moving too fast, too purposefully. In seconds, it would reach her. Lily's voice rang out clear and firm in the silence, speaking a single word in the human language. Sit. The Warbeast stopped mid-stride. Its massive body shuddered, as if fighting against itself. Then, incredibly, impossibly, it lowered its haunches to the ground and sat. The silence that followed was deafening. Thousands of beings from dozens of species stared in shock at the scene before them. The ultimate bioweapon, the unstoppable killing machine, the pride of the Dominion fleet, was sitting obediently before a human child like a trained pet. Lily took a step forward, her hands still raised. The Warbeast watched her approach, but made no aggressive moves. When she was close enough, she reached up and gently patted its lowered head. "Good boy," she said softly. The Warbeast's tail, the same tail that had demolished combat droids minutes before, swayed slightly side to side. "Impossible," Zalera breathed. "The neural conditioning, the control protocols, Nothing should be able to override them. General Crackstor's face had turned a shade of purple that indicated extreme distress. Get that creature back under control immediately. I'm trying. Zalera's tentacles flew over the controls. It's not responding to any commands. It's as if it's chosen to obey someone else. Ambassador Chun had finally made it to the arena floor, accompanied by a squad of human security personnel. He approached slowly, hands visible and movements calm. "Lily, sweetheart," he called out. "Step away from the nice creature, please." "But Daddy, he's friendly," Lily protested. "Look, he knows tricks." She turned back to the Warbeast. "Lie down." The Warbeast immediately stretched out on the arena floor, its massive head resting on its front claws. "Stand up." It rose to all fours again, watching her expectantly. "Roll over." The 15-foot killing machine rolled onto its back, its legs waving in the air like an enormous puppy before righting itself again. The human security team reached them, forming a protective circle around the ambassador and his daughter. One of them, Sergeant Martinez, studied the war beast with professional interest. "Sir," he said quietly, "I think I know what's happening here." "Then, please explain, Sergeant, because I'm fairly certain my daughter just broke several laws of science." "It's not science, sir. It's evolution." Martinez kept his voice low. "Humans and dogs co-evolved for thousands of years. We shaped each other on a genetic level. The bonding instincts, the pack dynamics, the communication patterns, they're hardwired into both species." "But this isn't a dog, Sergeant." "No, sir. But look at it. 4 legs, pack hunting instincts, predator physiology." The Dominion tried to create the perfect warrior, but they used predator genetics as their base. And on Earth, we've been turning predators into companions for millennia. The war beast was now sitting beside Lily, who was scratching behind what appeared to be its ears. A low rumbling sound emanated from its chest. Not a growl, but something almost like a purr. "They gave it a brain advanced enough to strategize," Martinez continued. "That means it's smart enough to choose. And right now it's choosing her." Around the amphitheater, chaos was erupting. Delegates shouted questions and demands. The Dominion representatives were in heated discussion with Council security. Several species ambassadors were already transmitting reports back to their homeworlds. "This is a disaster," Crackstor snarled. "Years of work, billions in resources, and a human child just domesticated it," Zalera finished weakly. "In less than 5 minutes." The implications were staggering. If humans could do this to the Dominion's ultimate bioweapon, what else were they capable of? Every species in the Council had underestimated them, dismissed them as primitive and weak. But perhaps there were different kinds of strength. Ambassador Chun finally reached his daughter. "Lily, we need to go now." "Can we keep him?" Lily asked hopefully. "I don't think Actually, Ambassador," a new voice interrupted. Council President Varthen had descended from her elevated platform, her crystalline form shimmering with agitation. "That might be the safest option for everyone." "You can't be serious," Crackstor protested. "That creature is Dominion property. It cost millions to develop, and it no longer obeys you," Varthen pointed out. "Would you prefer we attempt to contain it by force? Risk it escaping and rampaging through the station? Or would you rather it stay with the one being it seems willing to obey?" The war beast, as if understanding the conversation, moved closer to Lily. Its massive bulk positioned itself between her and the arguing officials. "It's protecting her," someone in the crowd observed. Indeed, the creature's posture had shifted subtly. While it remained calm, there was an alertness to its stance, a readiness to defend that hadn't been there during the combat demonstrations. "This requires a full council session," Varthen declared. "All delegations will convene in 1 hour. Ambassador Chun, for the safety of all, please keep your daughter and her companion in a secure location until we can sort this out." Chun nodded, still struggling to process what had happened. "Come on, Lily. We need to go." "Okay, Daddy." Lily looked up at the war beast. "Come on, boy. Let's go." The Warbeast stood and followed her without hesitation, ignoring the frantic commands Alara was still inputting into her control system. As they walked toward the exit, crowds of aliens parted before them, staring in disbelief at the sight of humanity's smallest representative leading the galaxy's deadliest weapon like a pet. Behind them, General Kraxtor watched his career crumbling in real time. The perfect weapon, the key to Dominion expansion, the future of warfare itself, all undone by a child who knew the magic word. "Sit," he muttered in disgust. Of all the things. But in the observation decks above, military strategists from a dozen species were already recalculating their assessments of humanity. If humans could forge pack bonds across species barriers, if their young could tame bioengineered killers with simple commands, what other surprises did these deceptively fragile creatures hold? The council session that followed would change the course of galactic history. But in that moment, as Lily led her new friend through the station corridors, chattering happily about all the games they would play together, the most powerful beings in known space could only watch and wonder. The humans, it seemed, were full of surprises.